Hello everyone, and welcome to the first broadcast of our series, Let's Talk About Covid-19. As we know, we're living through a pandemic that has affected the entire globe, and there's no one who can say they haven't been affected by this one way or another. Today, the UK has recorded 3.8 million cases, 107,000 deaths, and has identified 7 strains. Because of this, the Messengers Church has decided to take the initiative to launch this Let's Talk About COVID-19 series to raise awareness in our local community. In this series, we will be sitting down with those who are working on the front line, such as first responders, doctors, nurses, teachers, cleaners, spiritual leaders, those working in the mental health profession, and also those who have been personally affected by COVID-19. Funding from the Coronavirus Community Support Fund, distributed by the National Lottery Community Fund, has helped us to bring this to your screens today. Thank you to the government for making this possible. Don't forget to send in your comments in the comment section below. Make sure to like, to share our Facebook and YouTube channels, and don't forget to subscribe. Betango. Today we will be sitting down with Elizabeth Katumpa. She is a registered nurse and has been working in the nursing profession for 9 years. She has worked in the ICU of UCLH, local hospitals, as well as her local community.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Katumpa. I'm a mother of two, and I'm a registered nurse. I'm also a married woman. First of all, before I start, I would like to pay my respect to all the healthcare professionals who have lost their lives to this pandemic and their families. As we are all aware, we're going through a very difficult time in history, even if not. So it's been a very difficult time for everyone. Many people have lost their lives, especially within the healthcare profession. We have lost a lot of doctors, nurses, and so forth. Today I come to you today I come to you just like everyone else, as a member of the public, not just as a healthcare professional. In particular, I am addressing to the Congolese community because there is a lot of fear that's going on, and there's a lot of clarification that needs to be done. There's a lot of things that needs to be said, but in particular, the fear of people going into the hospital. As we are aware, we're dealing with the crisis of Covid-19. Covid-19 has taken us all by surprise. It is an outbreak that has lasted for nearly a whole year. Many people have died, many people have lost their lives. Our lives have been transformed, our lives have been changed. Nothing is the same as it used to be. Everything seems scary at present. The reason why I'm addressing to the Congolese community in particular, or the black community in particular, is because I'm Congolese myself. And I have heard so many rumors about people are being scared, not going into the hospital because of the fear or of theories that the healthcare professionals or doctors and nurses are killing the patients. For someone like myself, it has been very painful to hear accusations such as these, because as everyone else, we are human beings. We are trying our best to fight this pandemic. We're trying our best to save as many lives as we can. People should take this pandemic, should take this disease very serious. It is very serious. It's not something to play with. It's not something to take lightly, because many people have lost their lives to this. As I said, as a healthcare professional, it has been painful hearing that people are scared to go to the hospital because we are supposedly be killing them. No, we are not. We are working day and night, 24/7, 365 days a week from Monday to Sunday. We're putting our soul, our hearts and soul into saving the lives of people who have been affected by this. Please forgive me. It has been very difficult for a lot of people, including myself, to see what's been happening, to see what's going on. I encourage people, if you're able to manage your symptoms, I believe the three main symptoms are a high temperature, a temperature anything between above 37.5, a continuous cough which is lasting for more than an hour. When I mean a continuous cough, it's not just a normal cough, a cough that is hurting your chest, a cough where you're bringing up a lot of phlegm. And another symptoms is a loss of smell and the loss of sense of taste. If you're experiencing those symptoms and you're able to manage it at home, as been advised by the local government, you should do so. But if it gets to the point where you're struggling to breathe, where you're experiencing other symptoms on top of the symptom that you're having, if it is lasting more than 7 days, you should seek medical help. We should not take this lightly. We should not take this lightly at all. If you're struggling to breathe, then one of the medical emergencies that you should call an ambulance, or that you should go into the hospital if you're struggling to breathe. As you can see me, I am talking. I'm not using any of my accessory muscles. I am calm and I'm composed and I'm able to make sentences. However, if it gets to the point where you're not able to talk, when it gets to the time where you feel like your chest is tightened, where you feel like you're struggling to breathe, that is a medical emergency. You should go and seek help. Seek medical help. I am pleading, people, please seek medical help. By seeking medical help, it does not necessarily mean, as people have been interpreted it, that when you go into hospital that you may not survive. There are people out there who have survived this disease. There are people out there who have gone into the hospital, who have survived and who have gone back home. If you're not able to manage your symptoms, as mentioned, go into the hospital, seek medical help. Maybe it means that you need oxygen therapy to help with your breathing. Maybe your breathing is so bad that all you need is just a little bit of help, just a little bit of a push. Or maybe you need more than that. Maybe you also need to be given antibiotics because your body is fighting as something which your body is not used to. It's fighting an infection that has taken all of us by surprise. Please seek help. Please seek help. Do not suffer in silence. Do not die out of ignorance. If you're not sure, if you're unsure about anything, there is help available. If you're unsure about anything, please, there is help available. Do not suffer in silence, as I said. Do not decide it will pass. If it will pass, yes. But if it is not manageable, you should go and seek medical help. You should seek medical advice. Because so many people, unfortunately, are dying due to the lack of ignorance, due to the fear that has been placed into people that they are out there to get us. From a healthcare professional's perspective, it has been painful and hurtful to hear these rumors that we are out there to get people, that we are out there to take people's lives. No, we work above and beyond to help those in need. It is our duty, it is our responsibility as healthcare professionals to help those who are in need. If you got a hospital appointment which is not cancelled, if you have a hospital appointment where you have been asked to go and attend to a hospital, please go. Please go. But only go, as it has been said, if you need to. If you don't need to go into the hospital and you're able to manage your symptoms, as mentioned, do so. But if it becomes critical, because you don't know what other issues are developing inside your body, you don't know what else is going on in your body, and you might need to get monitored. And the only way to get monitored, it is within a hospital setting. I will give a bit of example of myself. Currently, I am, like I said, I'm a registered nurse. I'm working in the community. And in the community, we come across so many patients. We come across so many individuals who have been affected by this pandemic. We've come across patients who have been discharged from the hospital post-COVID, and they've been taken into, and they've gone back home. Within the community, they have been treated. I go to people's homes where I don't know if they've got COVID, if they're COVID positive or not. Even if they are, we have been provided with full PPE. We wear our gloves, we wear our aprons, we wear our facial mask, and we wear our shield. Trust me, wearing that equipment is uncomfortable, but we're doing it in order to protect everyone else and also to protect ourselves. We're doing so that we can continue to provide a service for those who are in need. The NHS is not going to stop because there is a pandemic. We will continue to help those who are in need. We will continue to provide the services which are necessary and which are needed. Thank you.
One of the questions we were asked was, can you give us an experience of when you have personally been affected by COVID, or is this something that only affects white people or a certain kind of people?
Thank you for the question. To answer this question, I myself am a COVID-19 survivor. Around the beginning of November, I tested positive myself. I experienced those symptoms as mentioned. I had a high temperature. My temperature was 38.1. I had a fever. I was shivering. I had aches and pains. I was coughing continuously. I was coughing really, really, really bad. It wasn't just like a normal common flu and common cold. It has affected myself personally. And I was able to manage my symptoms during the period of time, and I isolated myself and my family. We isolated. Like I said, I was able to manage my symptoms. My symptoms were not as severe. However, just gone after Christmas, my husband tested positive. But before he tested positive, he had a continuous fever which lasted for more than 4 days. His temperature was not going down at all, no matter what I did. And me, myself, being a nurse, I was the person dealing with him. I was the one nursing him and looking after him, but it was not easy. He had a continuous cough. He was coughing, he was breathless, he was struggling to breathe. It was traumatizing to see this. It was hurtful to see my husband in the position that he was in. And to make it worse, we have 2 children under the age of 4 that we live with. So I had myself, my husband who was very sick, and I also had my 2 children, and we were isolating during that period of time. No one could come and see us, and we could not go out as well to see anybody. But thankfully, I have a very supportive family. I have a very supportive church who helped me. My family members, they had to come and bring us food. They had to come and bring us medication if needed. So yes, no one is exempt from this condition. No one is exempt from this pandemic. No one is exempt from this COVID-19. COVID-19 is a virus. It's a virus that would not look at your height. It would not look at your gender. It would not look at your race. It doesn't matter whatever socioeconomic background you are from. It does not matter who you are. If you are affected, you are affected. And as I said, it's a virus. It would not look at you it would not look at you and say, I'm not going to attack you. I believe nearly a year into this pandemic, a lot of people, I would say the majority of us, have been affected by this. Maybe we have even lost loved ones. My husband has lost family members. It has been a tragic moment. It has been a tragic time for all of us. It has been a difficult time for a lot of us. Yes, I have been personally affected by this. This is why I'm encouraging people to go and seek help if needed.
So we've received a question here on WhatsApp, and it basically says, at the beginning of this pandemic, there were many remedies that came out. People were advised not to go to hospital and to do these special remedies. And one of the most outrageous we had heard was to make me drink your pee, or as Congolese people say, milama suba. What is your advice for that? Or, as a nurse, speaking as a nurse, what advice can you give specifically to the Congolese community as well as the BAME community?
My advice as a nurse or as a healthcare professional, there is no research that suggests drinking your wee will heal you from this disease or it will cure you. We as healthcare professionals, we practice medicine based on evidence-based practice. So everything that we practice has to be proven that it is effective. I can't comment and say the wee is effective. That maybe people may testify and say it has helped them, but there's no research from a medical perspective to say that drinking your wee will help you.
We've had a question come in from Facebook from Agassi. She has said, how do we speak to our children about this?
Teach them or speak to them the same way you would tell them about any illness or any disease, to be honest. Because I believe just before the lockdowns, schools started implementing and teaching children about it. You can use diagrams, you can use pictures, speak it in a language which is approachable, which is understandable for them. If you speak to them or you tell them there's corona outside, corona is like, for example, the big bad wolf is outside. Corona is similar to the big bad wolf. So because the big bad wolf is outside, we have to protect ourselves. The big bad wolf is dangerous. It's the same way you will teach them about not to talk to strangers or not to approach to strangers. You explain to them in a terminology which is easy for them to understand and to adapt. And I believe a lot of schools, they're also doing the same thing. They're making it they're simplifying it for children to understand. I believe my niece, when you call her and you speak to her and you ask her, can we come? She's like, no, don't come. Corona is outside. And she's 4 years old. So you can see that even children are understanding that there is something out there which is hurtful.
We've had another question come in and say, who are the most vulnerable?
The most vulnerable, at the moment as healthcare professionals, we're following the World Health Organization guidelines. and the local government guidelines, people who have been identified as vulnerable is people who have underlying health issues. For example, diabetes, heart problems. If you already have pre-existing conditions like asthma or COPD, like anything, if you're already having pre-existing conditions, I would say, people who they are vulnerable. Pregnant women are also vulnerable, and people over the age of 65, because at the age of 65, your immunity is not as strong compared to someone who's younger. Pregnant women are vulnerable because during pregnancy already you are vulnerable as it is. Yes, people with underlying health issues, and the government has also identified that people from Black, Asian, and ethnic minorities have become vulnerable. They are vulnerable because they are at the front line, and they are exposed to people. They are exposed to patients in the work field who are COVID positive. I'll give an example. I've just come back from maternity leave. I've gone back to work. And on my first day at work already, I was identified as someone who's at risk because of my ethnic background. So there are guidelines and protocols that managers are putting into place, asking questions and finding out. We have identified that you are one of those people. Do you have any underlying health conditions? Or is there something that we have to do so that you might have to shield or that you have to work from home?
Okay, so another question's come in, so the BAME community are susceptible to coronavirus. So now what can we do for ourselves as we have underlying health issues? Mm-hmm. What can we do to become more healthy?
The best advice to give to that is to follow local government guidelines, which is to wear a face mask, work from home if possible, if you're not able to, if your workplace is able to accommodate for you to work from home. Avoid going out unnecessarily. Only go out if you really need to go out. If you don't need to go out, you can stay at home. If it means you have to do essential shopping, you can do it online. You don't necessarily have to go out there. Wash your hands frequently, wear your face mask, keep a distance. The distance that we have to keep is between 1 to 2 meters. And like I said, avoid unnecessary gatherings as well.
So what if we have been in contact with someone who possibly had coronavirus, but we feel fine? Is it okay for us to go to work?
No, it's not. According to the government guidelines, even if you don't present any symptoms, because not everyone is presenting symptoms, there are people out there, they have no symptoms whatsoever, but they are tested, but they are positive. So if you have been in contact with someone who tested positive, the first thing you should do, even if you're not presenting any symptoms, that you should test yourself. After testing yourself, if your test comes back as positive, even if it comes back as negative, the local government guideline is that you self-isolate for 10 days. After those 10 days, if you still don't have any symptoms and you are well, you should continue doing what you want to do.
Okay. Do you believe that if we all get the vaccine, we can completely get rid of COVID-19?
As a healthcare professional, the best way I could answer this question is the vaccine is there not to cure the disease. I want to clarify that it's not there to cure the disease, but it's to protect each other. It's for us to protect each other. Even if everyone gets the vaccine, it does not necessarily mean that we are going to be immune from it or that we're not going to have it anymore. I believe that's the best way to answer the question.
As a nurse working on the front line, are you going to take the vaccine?
Currently, I am breastfeeding. I'm nursing my son. But once I have weaned him off from breastfeeding, yes, I will be taking the vaccine after making an informed choice.
So we've heard lately in the news that people from ethnic minorities are completely against the vaccine. Is there a reason why we should be afraid to take the vaccine?
I would say, as a healthcare professional, Why is it that, my question would be, why is it that you are scared of the vaccine? What is it that you are fearing? What is it that you are afraid of? If you don't want to take the vaccine, that's fine. If you also want to take the vaccine, it is fine. But in order to say, no, I'm not going to take the vaccine, what is your reason behind it? What are you afraid of, I would say? Do an informed research about the vaccine itself. Do an informed, make an informed decision. Don't just base your decision upon because of what you have heard or because of what you have seen. But you yourself take it upon yourself to find out, would this vaccine benefit me or would it not benefit me? But don't just say no to the vaccine just like that without having a solid understanding of it.
Can food and drinks be affected by corona?
At present, the local guideline is that you wash everything that you buy from the shops, that you decontaminate food and drinks. My answer to that would be no, only because there's no research suggesting that it is actually so. So, like I said, as a nurse, everything with me has to be evidence-based. If there's an evidence that suggests that it is because of food or it's because of drinks, then yes. If there's no evidence showing so, then the answer would be no.
Do people who wear glasses and contact lenses considered vulnerable?
People who wear glasses, that's a very good question. I've not come across this, and even thinking about it, I don't want to give an answer and then for people to come back to me and say it's because she said so. I would say if you already have an underlying issue, if there's a reason why you're wearing your glasses, if you're wearing the glasses out of fashion, or if you're wearing your contact lenses out of fashion, I would say no. But if you already have like cataracts or something else wrong with your eyes, and that would be classified as a pre-existing condition, then maybe yes.
Okay. We've received a question from France. It's in French. If you can respond either in French or in Lingala, that would be great.
I will try my best.
Okay. Quand tu vois tous ces gens mourir, ou tous ces gens qui sont morts, comment tu te sens en tant qu'infirmière?
Ça me fait mal. It hurts me. It hurts me because as a healthcare professional, it's never easy to see someone pass away. It is never easy to accept that someone has passed away because, like I said, we do our best to save lives. And sometimes with our patients as well, it has a direct impact on us because the more people are dying, this is where the rumors will also come from, that we are killing them intentionally. But we are human beings just like everybody else. It does affect us. It does hurt us. It even plays with us psychologically. I believe just before the first lockdown, there was a nurse who committed suicide after 8 of her patients died. It is morally not nice to see someone die, regardless if it is coronavirus or not. Any kind of death is hurtful.
Another question that was asked was, have you personally been attached to anyone who has actually died of coronavirus?
Apart from a member of my husband's family, I would say that's the closest it has been to me. I have not lost anyone, touch wood, personally that has died of the result of the coronavirus, but I've heard of people within our community, people who tell me that they have lost a loved one or they have lost someone close to them. Even though it hasn't happened to me directly, I know it is happening, and touch wood, I don't want it to get too directly.
That's perfect. I just want to ask everyone who is following us on Facebook and on YouTube to please send your question in. As we said at the beginning, Elizabeth is a qualified nurse, has been for 9 years, and is currently working as a nurse. So please do send your questions in, drop your comments. Let's also make sure you subscribe, like, send hearts as well, and thumbs up. Another question we were asked was, how long does coronavirus live on surfaces?
I will have to double check with that because I don't want to give a wrong response. But I believe it's 72 hours. I know that within your throat, like in particular in your throat, it can last up to 4 days. But when you mean surfaces, like food surface or any surface?
Just food surface or any surface, actually.
I would say about 72 hours.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay. Are you allowed to refuse help, are you allowed to refuse help / treat anybody who has coronavirus?
As a healthcare professional, I am not allowed. I have a duty to the community. I have a duty to my patients. The answer to that would be no, I am not allowed to refuse to look after someone who's got coronavirus because I have a duty of care to everyone.
So we have a question here from our mother, Mummy. She has asked, are children going to be vaccinated as well? If so, from what age?
At present, there's still discussion going on about it, but the government's priority at present is to vaccinate people who are vulnerable. In terms of children, there is still some research that's going to be done about it, but as mentioned, people who are vulnerable are the first to get the vaccine, as well as people like myself who are working at the front line.
Is it safe for our nursery-aged children to continue going to nursery?
If it is safe, I would say yes, it is safe. I'm speaking from my own experience. My children are still going into the nursery because I'm a key worker. So in order for me to provide the service that is required of me, and because of childcare, I have to place my children into the nursery. And so far, I've not had any problems or any issues. Nurseries themselves as well, they're following government guidelines. They're disinfecting all the equipment. They're encouraging, even nursery, they're encouraging children to wash their hands. They have support bubbles. So yes, it is still safe. It is still safe for children to go into nursery, and they will notify you if there is an outbreak. And if there is an outbreak, that's when you take your child or your children out, and you self-isolate until it is safe to do so.
So we know that some schools have had outbreaks, or previously in the past they've had outbreaks, and children had to stay home.
Mm-hmm.
For key workers, this has been very difficult, and so children have been going to stay with family. Is that safe?
If it is safe, I would not be able to answer saying yes or no, only because, as we are aware, we have to treat everyone as if they are positive. But if for childcare, if it is due to childcare, the government even has given that authority, has even made it possible that if it's due to childcare, that your children are allowed to go and stay somewhere else, and that way you also support a support bubble, and you should stay within your support bubble. Even children who are, for example, separated from, whose parents are separated, but they either commute and stay at one parent or the other, even they are allowed to do so.
Okay.
But if it does happen that there is an outbreak or someone tests positive or they have symptoms, automatically you have to self-isolate.
So we have another question here from France. If you can respond in Lingala.
I will try.
Possible. Si une personne a le Covid et est en train de regarder cette live, il y a quoi que tu peux dire pour eux?
Someone that is COVID positive.
Watching the live, yeah.
Azotala live. Nakoki koloba mutu oyo nyonso to azali kobela yango ezali maladi eyaka lokola maladi nyonso tu. Soki ozali na possibilité ya ko manager ba symptômes no na ndako banda na ndako ozali 10 jours na yo. Mais soki esali ke par exemple pema eza mokuse papa mama kovanda na ndako te soki komi mpenza na ka moko ozokoka lisusu te kende na hôpital bakoswanye yo apres koswanye yo okoki no kozonga na ndako ezali moto nyonso tu te oyo akokufa na maladi oyo mpe ezali mpe na bato ebele bazali kobika na maladi oyo malke babelaki yango me babiki lokola ngai moko mpe lokola mobali na ngai tobelaki yango me nzambe asali biso ngolu tozali.
Thank you. So we have a question from our mother Madu. Her question is, within our Congolese community, in 1 month we've lost 36 people. What do you think we're doing wrong?
I can't say particular what we are doing wrong, but from what I have heard and from our own experiences, people are scared to go to the hospital. People are scared. I wouldn't even say just scared to go to the hospital. People are scared to seek medical advice. And even when they are seeking medical advice, they're seeking medical advice when it is too late. Like I said, if you're able to manage your symptoms, stay at home. Manage it just like you would manage a cold or a flu. But if it gets to the point where you are struggling, where it's becoming difficult, maybe you are unable to breathe. When I say you are not able to breathe, you're not able to talk, you're not able to make sentences, you're having chest pain, those are medical emergencies. You need to go. You need to go. I've heard stories, I've heard testimonies that people are afraid to go to the hospital because of the fear of being, as we've been told, their life being taken away. And also, I believe that within our community in particular, we need to educate ourselves. We have nurses within our community. We have doctors within our community who keep pushing and pushing and pushing and telling people, if it is an emergency, if it's a medical emergency, seek help. Help is available. If there is a fire, you're going to call the fire brigade. If there is an incident, you need the police, you will call the police. Then why is it, if it is a medical emergency, nobody wants to go to the hospital? The hospital at this particular moment of time is the most safest place to be, because you're going to get monitored. They will keep an eye on you, depending on your condition, depending on the severity of your symptoms. If you need antibiotics, you will get antibiotics. If you need steroids to help with the inflammation, you will get steroids. If you need oxygen, you will be given oxygen. And all of this, while you are receiving this, you are being monitored. If you are at home, who's going to monitor you? If you are at home, who's going to keep an eye on you? No one. Even yourself, even myself as a healthcare professional, if it gets to a point where I am stuck and I need to go and seek medical help, I will go and seek medical help. Let me just add something in particular. In terms of oxygen saturation, someone who is healthy or someone who doesn't have any breathing problems or any asthma or any breathing related illnesses, the oxygen level should be between 94 to 100%. But when you are at home, unless you have something called an oximetry meter, something which you connect to your finger and can measure your oxygen saturation, your oxygen level, then yes, you can stay at home. But if you don't have it, you have to go and seek medical advice. I believe technology has advanced. Apple Watches are available, which tell you even your oxygen level. If your oxygen level is below 90%, you need medical attention. And one way you can tell or you can find out your oxygen level is low is by you struggling to breathe. Like I said, as I am talking, I am breathing without any issues. I'm breathing without any problems. But if it gets like, where I have to do this, and no, don't stay at home. Seek medical advice. If you feel chest pain, you feel like your chest is tight, go and seek medical advice. Don't just do the remedies that have been heard and that we are familiar with, because those remedies alone will not be sufficient enough. Thank you.
So you spoke about an oximeter.
Yeah.
And Apple Watch, maybe we can use that.
Yeah.
So Apple Watch might be a bit pricey for people. Is there a way that we can get that oximeter? Is it something that we can receive from the hospital, or is it something that we can buy?
It is available online. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it on eBay even. Or you can even buy it at the pharmacy. It is available. You can buy it and you can purchase for your own peace of mind. If you want to buy it, yes, you can. And like I said, if you notice, if you do have it, if you notice that your oxygen level is below 90%, that is a medical emergency. You need to go and seek medical help.
Okay. So you've told us the symptoms of coronavirus, but we've heard that people are saying they haven't had those symptoms, but they've had symptoms such as headaches and runny nose. But health professionals are telling us, no, they're not symptoms.
At this particular moment of time, as mentioned, according to the World Health Organization, there are three main symptoms: high temperature, the continuous cough, loss of sense of smell, or the loss of sense of taste. However, there are people out there presenting with other symptoms, such as diarrhea, aches and pains. A healthcare professional will not necessarily tell you that those are not the symptoms of coronavirus, because unless you actually have a test which tested positive or negative, you can't actually say this person does not have coronavirus, because as mentioned, everyone's body is different. There are people who have the virus and they don't have any symptoms.
Okay, thank you. So what is the testing process for COVID-19?
The testing process, there are three ways that you can get yourself tested. You can go on their government website, on the NHS Test and Trace. You can put your details in. You can either, the first one is you can order yourself a self-testing kit where you put your details in and they'll give you a barcode, and that test kit will be sent to your home. Or you can go into a walking center. You book yourself online into a walking center, and they would even advise you not to take public transport when you go to those test center. Or you can also go for a drive-through testing center.
Sorry. Is taking the test painful?
It's not painful, but it's uncomfortable, because they will take a swab through your nose, through your nostrils, and also you might, and you also have to test using the swab and swab your tonsils. It's not painful, but it's uncomfortable, and as you're placing it into your mouth, even you may even have a gagging reflex. That's a reflex. That's just your body saying, "I don't like it," but it's not painful at all.
What is a normal temperature, and when does it become dangerous?
A normal temperature, as said, is between 36 to 37.5. Anything from 37.5 upwards is considered to be a temperature. So 37.6, 37.7, 37.8, 37.9, 38, that is considered to be a high temperature. 37.6 is borderline-ish.
Thank you. We have had a question come in. So I had COVID last year. Will I catch it again?
The possibility is yes, that you may catch it again. Just like with a cold or a flu, just because you had a flu jab, for example, does not necessarily mean that you're not going to catch it again. However, most likely because you had it before, your body will identify it and might fight it. As mentioned, when you get sick, for example, or you have a cold or you have a flu, your body's responds automatically by trying to fight it. And so yes, you can still get it once you've had it.
Thank you. So we've had a question from our sister Blanche. What are the underlying illnesses that will cause a person to be more vulnerable when they are contaminated with COVID-19?
As mentioned earlier, diabetes is considered, anyone with coexisting mobilities such as diabetes, heart problems, if you already have breathing problems or your immune system is already compressed by taking maybe medications that suppress your immune system, patients or people who got cancer, they are all under the category of high risk, and as mentioned earlier on as well, women who are pregnant, and anyone above the age of 65 because of the aging, because of your age.
So I know you've already outlined the main COVID symptoms. However, we've been asked if you can outline it in Lingala. So outline the main COVID symptoms for those who may not know.
Narumeka. Ba symptômes oyo ezali ya Covid selon oyo gouvernement ezali ko reconnaître ezali fièvre. So vous avez une fièvre, température nous allons likolo ya 37.5. So comme déjà na ba 37.8, ba 38. One is déjà aux na fièvre. Kosu oyo ya makasi. Kosu oyo ya ozo koso la penza ke ozo mona on dirait mi chope no sulinge bimayo. Kosu ya bongo. Kosu ozo bimisa ba crachat, ozo bimisa na makila. Mususu ezali ozo wasu solote. Solo ya biloko akolia te, solo ya kozika te, na gu ya biloko akolia na munoko ezali lisusu te. Ba wana ezali ba symptômes oyo gouvernement elobi ke soko ezali na ba symptômes wana elakisi ke ozali na Covid.
Okay. So, due to financial responsibilities, there's been cases where people in our community have had COVID symptoms in contact with a person with COVID, but choose not to isolate and continuously go to work. What advice do you give to those people? Let's say in our community, so if we could answer this in Lingala.
Pona bato oyo bazali na batesaki positif mais bazo continuer musala parce que pona makambo ya mbongo gouvernement elobi ke soki osalaka ke obeli Covid bazali na possibilité ya ko aider yo okoki ko claimer osengi gouvernement mbongo gouvernement aider yo. Parce que zali na bato ebele bazali na même kawana gouvernement elobi surtout neti bato bazalaka bazaba self-employed gouvernement elobi ke so za self-employed ba ko aider mutu nyoso to na droit wana balobaki soi-disant ke mutu nyoso to zali o asalaka mais azoko ko sala te so ko sali okotisi ba dossier na yo ba donner no makambo nyoso tu ba ko pesa yo pe 500 livres pona ko aider yo na moma wana ozali na bosenga ya mbongo.
Okay, and another question from our sister Beverly. She said, what can we do as a community for COVID, to tackle COVID-19, especially Congolese community?
For our community, precisely, I would say that we have to educate ourselves. We have to realize that this is serious. Put aside conspiracy theories. Put aside the fact that, yes, we pray, but as the Bible says, there's a time for everything. As a community, I would say we need to educate ourselves about the seriousness of this disease. This disease is real. And I believe in our community, we have lost too many people. Great men, great women. Too many people have lost their lives already, that we have to do something. We have to educate ourselves. We have to get to the point where, as they say, knowledge is power. It's no longer about, oh, I heard this, I heard that. No, you yourself as an individual, have you taken the time to educate yourself about COVID-19? Do you even know what it actually means? Do you know how it is impacting people individually? Do you know how it is impacting people around you? Because it is happening, it is real. I would say the main thing that we as a community should do is re-educate ourselves, educate ourselves. Knowledge is power and knowledge is key.
Okay, we've had a question from our sister Tanya. She said, are children immune to COVID or can they catch it too? And how are the symptoms different in children than they are in adults?
Children are not immune to this virus. As I mentioned earlier on, no one is immune to this virus. It's a virus. A virus will not look at someone and say, because you're short, I'm not going to attack you. It is something that attacks your DNA, so it's something that attacks you internally. Children are not immune to it. Children's symptoms are similar to adults. However, because of the immunity, it may present differently, the same way it would with adults.
So, children and COVID-19. So, we've heard that children are the biggest spreaders. Is this true? Should we keep our children away from people?
You can't really keep children away from people because they don't have the knowledge and the understanding as an adult or someone mature would have. Children are children. Even when it comes to germs, even when it's the flu season, we all see that it gets spread all around. We should not stop our children from not being around other people, because children are children and they need to be, especially, I believe at this particular moment of time in particular, children need to have other children around in order to feel secure, in order to keep some kind of form of normality. Even within the schools, they have created little bubbles, support bubbles. Even in schools, they're still continuing checking up on children. They still have they don't have social gatherings, but they have remote gatherings where they still see other children. So you should not exclude children or do anything which will jeopardize them.
Okay, we've had a question coming from our mother, Karin. She says, hi, taking vitamins D or C to boost our immune system, is that safe? Would that prevent us from getting COVID?
It would not prevent us from having COVID. However, it is a good thing to do because research has shown that a lot of people who have been affected by COVID, their vitamin D level was low. So everyone who's had COVID, for example, who has been affected by the virus, they have been encouraged, according to research, to take vitamin D supplements to boost the energy level and also to boost the vitamin D. And also something else which research has shown is that people who have suffered from COVID and who have survived the virus, that they should go and donate their blood. And as they donate the blood, they will take the plasma out of their blood, and that plasma, they will use it to treat other people who are COVID positive. And apparently it has shown to be very successful.
So, talking about the blood plasma, so we hear adverts saying men should go. Why not women?
Research has also shown that it's men in particular who are suffering who are extremely more vulnerable compared to women when it comes to COVID-19. And there's still some research being done to identify and find out why is it that men in particular are more prone to suffering COVID-19 compared to women, even though both genders are suffering from it.
So it's another case of the man flu?
Yes.
Okay. So our sister Beverly is asking, are there any charities within our community that can help us that can help those who are high risk, i.e. sheltering, doing food shopping for them?
The NHS itself, it has got something called NHS Volunteers, which the government introduced last year to help people who are isolating. So it is available, help is available. That's why I said it is important to educate ourselves. Myself, when I was affected by COVID, I joined NHS Volunteers, and they contacted me with someone who lives within my local area who could come and help us. So I had someone from the NHS Volunteers who helped us during that period of time. She came and offered us, she came and I gave her a list of the things that I needed her to buy for us, and she bought it. Within the community, I would say, we have our neighbors, we have our families that we can rely on, that we can help. If you go on the NHS website, it will tell you, it will give you a list of other organizations out there who are there who can help us.
So we know about now the volunteers, NHS volunteers, but what we also know is that a lot of people are struggling, especially mothers. They're struggling at this moment financially. Are there places maybe where they can go and get some free food?
There are food banks available. There are food banks available. Myself and one of my friends, we created a food bank where we help people and we ask people to go. We have a food bank available. We did it in a partnership with Tesco and other superstores such as Morrison. So food banks are available for people. It's just about knowing where to go. And free school meals. How can I forget about that? Free school meals are available for children from vulnerable backgrounds.
Is that is it only for those on low income who can go to these food banks?
The food bank is for everyone. Whilst my friend and I were doing the food bank, we found out that a lot of people are too proud, especially blacks, from black communities, are a bit too proud to go to attend those food banks. They would prefer that you drop the food at their door. They would take it, but they wouldn't actually ask for help. In this pandemic, I think we should get to that point where you need help, you seek help. It's not about being too proud, oh, they're going to laugh at me. It's nothing to do with being judgmental. We're all suffering. We're all going through it. Doctors, nurses, police officers, bus drivers, teachers, even our children, all of us. And one particular topic I would like to emphasize on is our mental health. Our mental health in this pandemic, I can't stress it enough. Our children's mental health, parents' mental health, everyone's mental health in particular. There is help available if you need. There are organizations, charities such as The Mind. Children in this particular moment of time, even the ones who are not going to school, they're going through depression. Their way of depression is lashing out, crying. It's strange for everyone. It's even strange for them as well. So in this particular moment of time, we need to look after our mental health. Already research has shown that mental health, in particular in black men, is very high. There's a lot of black boys and black men who are suffering from mental health. So at this particular moment of time, look after your friends, look after your family members, those who always appear as if they are the strong ones. Sometimes people are going through things. At this particular moment of time, I would say we're all fighting silent battles. Everyone is going through it. No one is exempt, neither children, neither grown-ups. We're all going through this. If you need help, seek help, please. I am pleading. The rate of suicide has gone up. Please. Mental health in the Congolese community, the African community, it's a taboo. We need to stop it. Like I said, I keep saying, we need to educate ourselves. Someone suffering from depression or having some kind of breakdown does not mean that they're going crazy. No, it's not libome como salaye. They need help. Because people are too judgmental, people are suffering in silence and people are dying in silence. You may think someone died, oh, they died from COVID. Maybe it wasn't COVID. Maybe they were depressed. And because they had COVID-19 on top of that, it has led them to commit suicide or it has led them to die. So mental health is something that needs to be addressed within our communities. I urge all the elders, I urge all the pastors, I urge all the leaders of our community to do something about mental health, especially for our young black men. Our young black men, they're going through a lot already. Systemic racism and all sorts of things. We need to do something about this.
So we've received the questions touching on this mental health, and I've been asked if you can give a response in Lingala.
Okay.
So this question is, I am depressed, and I've told my mother about it, but she doesn't believe me. Or she's telling me to be strong.
Soki ekomi na niveau oyebisi mutu ke oza na depression bazoyoka yote kendo luka aide libanda. Keno luka aide na libanda ezali na ba organisation ezali na ba charité bakoki ko aider yo. Parce que loko tozolinga to invité eloko tozolinga to boya eza bato bamiboma. Bato bazokufa na communauté pour pas makambo ya eza student lo baka souci ebomaka kovanda kimiate soki omoni ke peut-être sona kipa mutu boye akoseka ngai sona kipa mutu boye akotonga ngai ezali na ba organisation ezali na ba charité bakoki ko aider yo kende oluka bango mususu na tanga ikombo na bango mind ezali pe na ba charité ezali ko aider bana biso bana kat na communauté bato mwindu ba charité ezali luka mutu soki osengi ke okende pa GP o ABC GP ke nazo sentir boye nazo mona boye aide ezali ba ko aider.
Okay, what do you think of this Ganga Mutema movement that's happening at the moment? So everyone, young people, we see them speaking out, especially during this COVID period, where they're saying no to Ganga Mutema.
kokanga muteme e go sipote ka e koma na moma moko muteme go sipote le susute soki muteme o sipote le susute so yo senga ke il faut goloba est-ce que soki zo senga ke o réagir il faut que réagir kokanga mutema it's not something I believe in parce que ezali na moma moko muteme komaka na suka tozali batu tozali na mai na makila muteme komaka pe na suka so il muteme komi na suka avai koma il faut vraiment lobaka il faut ko prévenir likambo ekomela biso te ava likambo ekomela biso ozuli on déjà solution so ki okanga muteme komi na niveau moko ozoko so okanga mutema te luka batu vandisa batu solo na batu me kokanga ngo na mutema te ne ozokufa na likambo na kata mutema na yo ti ebomi yo.
So we have a question from our sister Blanche. She says, does the weather in Europe play a part in COVID-19? Since there's less deaths in Africa, some are saying it's due to the sunshine.
Research has shown, I always like to go, like I said, I like to go back to research. It's the same thing with when the pandemic started. We saw a peak just before the summer. And then I believe the lockdown restrictions were eased. And then when it came to winter again, there was an increase or there was another peak. So I do believe, and research has shown, that the weather does play, that weather has an impact on this whole COVID-19. Because like, for example, it's similar to the flu season. The flu season always, most of the time happens during the winter. So you could say, yes, the weather does play a part.
So our final question for today is, what can you say apropos coronavirus to our community?
Do you want me to say this in Lingala or English?
You can.
I'll do it in both. To our community, I would emphasize the same message again, that seek help if you're not able to manage your symptoms at home. If you are able to manage your symptoms at home, stay at home. Self-isolate for 10 days according to the government guidelines. It does not mean when you have the symptoms that you start going left, right, and center. No. Please seek medical help. I can't stress enough about this. I can't stress enough about this. No one is going to kill you in the hospital. We are not there to kill. I could lose my registration if I intentionally decide to kill someone. Our community, we have lived in the diaspora for many, many years. We should be at the stage now where we should be educated enough about a lot of things, especially about this coronavirus. We have to learn to come out of our comfort zone. We should come out of, I heard this, I heard that. Make informed choices. Do your own research. Don't just rely on what people are telling you. Don't just rely on what you are hearing. Do informed choices. Pono bande kuna biso bazali kolanda biso na olobana lingala comme infirmier nazali ko encourager biso nyonso tu. Soki ozali na possibilité ya ko manager ba symptômes na yo na ndako, mama, papa, ezali malamu, problème ezali te. Mais soki komi na niveau ki epende komi ka grave, ba hôpital ezali, mutu akoboma bino azali te. Mutu akosala bino pe mabe azali te. Tozali biso nyonso tu na kata etumba oyo. Biso nyonso tu tozali kobundisa maladi oyo. Soki maladi komi na niveau moko penza ozokoka lisusu te, bokende na hôpital. Na hôpital bazali koboma batu te. Nga moko naza infirmier, nazo yebisa bino ke tozo boma batu te. Parce que toza na mboka ya poto, toza aona poto. Aona poto za mboka mundele. Mundele aboma yo kaka te ka pona aboma yo. Ndenge bisnenge na lobby tozali komite moko ezali makasi kati na mboka oyo toleki na makambo ebele. Tobungisi batu ebele. Tozala na mawa. Toyoka mawa pona ba oyo bazali kolela pona batu oyo tobungisi. Est-ce que tokoki ko changer façon na biso te ya kozala to façon na biso ya ko raisonner pona makambo oyo ekoma na suka to kende na makambo na to silisa makambo oyo.
Thank you everyone for joining our session today. As mentioned at the beginning, this series has been sponsored by the National Lottery Fund, who has given us the funding to bring this to your screens today. Beloved, I just want to speak about the whole series. So in this series, we are going to speak to many people who are working on the front line. So those working on the front line are not only first responders, but these are cleaners who are still having to go to work. These are teachers who are still having to work, regardless whether it's in schools or at home. We're going to open up topics that maybe are taboo in our community. So this series, make sure you like, you subscribe, and you hit that bell button so that every time that we come live, you can come and join us. I just want to thank the media team who has helped us today, our sister Rachel and our brother Blessing, who have helped to put everything together. And again, I just want to thank our sister Elizabeth. Just to small on her bio, she has worked in intensive care units at big hospitals. She's working in the local community and at local hospitals. So, beloved, make sure that you have taken her advice on board and that you follow the guidelines that are currently out there. Again, thank you for watching us today and have a good evening.